Hey there, YouTube. Justice Cannon over here. Today in this episode, before we get started on this episode, I want to let you guys to know that I actually did a voting poll on my main page on Twitter to see up to which one of the four weapons you'd like me to review next. The four choices that we had were the H&K MP5 submachine gun, the P45T, the M40A5 sniper rifle, or the P416 assault rifle. And that poll only received one vote, which was for the MP5. So here we are. So here we are for the second video. We will be doing just that: the MP5 submachine gun. The MP5, or Machine Pistol 5, is one of the most popular submachine guns ever. You've seen them in a whole lot of different video games. You've probably seen them a few times in popular movies, such as the Die Hard franchise, or to be more specifically, the first Die Hard movie, as well as probably other than a couple of TV shows as well. The project of the MP5 submachine gun started out sometime around the late 1940s after the Second World War had ended. But it wasn't until the year 1954 that the original MP5 submachine gun arrived and started to take shape. The original name of the MP5 was the H&K 54 submachine gun, but it wasn't until a revision in the year 1964 that it started to become redesigned and rebuilt. What do I mean by that? Well, when the original MP5 from 1954 came about, it started out as a mere prototype that started out with using in 30-round straight box magazines. But it wasn't until its revision in 1964 that the MP5 got a little bit of a makeover. Then it came out with the more familiar 30-round slightly curved magazines. And let me tell you something. When it came out with both a boom and a little bit of a bang. The MP5 immediately became a fan favorite, with so many different organizations, from the German Bundeswehr, a few law enforcement SWAT teams, but it became much more famous with the British Special Air Service, or SAS. But if you think that there was a little bit interesting, my friends, you haven't seen anything yet. Buckos. Well, why do I say that? What do I mean by that? Well, allow me to explain. Because, my friends, the MP5 submachine gun became a big hit. And oh boy, was it a big hit. It became a really big hit due to the fact that it came out in not just one variation, but several variations as well. Now, with the original H&K 54 was dubbed the MP5A1. It also had the fixed stock variants of the A2 and A4 variants. It had the retractable stock MP5A3 and sliding stock MP5A5. But aside from those popular variants, it also came out from the It also had the MP510, which fired the 10mm auto rounds, and the MP540 in 40 Smith & Wesson. And yes, some of that information did came up from the Iconic Arms episode of the MP5 Xbox Ahoy, for which I do not take any credit. So anyways, guys, that there, my friend, is just a brief history. That, of course, is just a brief history lesson about the MP5. So now that I probably bored you guys a little bit with the history lesson about the MP5, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats of the MP5 submachine gun. Okay, so here, of course, is what the MP5 looks like when you start out. Now, alongside the P45T and the P416 rifle, the MP5 is one of the three weapons that you start out with when you begin in the new game. Now, alongside the P45T and the P416 rifle, the MP5 does not have some relatively low stats, but some of that is a little deceptive at best. Now, it does not have good penetration, good range, or good damage, because it is a submachine gun and it is designed for close quarters combat. It does have some really good noise reduction and a generous enough rate of fire, allowing you to pick off a small group of targets if you pick your shots carefully. Its accuracy is rather fair, but it's not the best in its class. But where this MP5 shines in is its handling and controllability. Now, in terms of upgrades, you could only select either the extended or the folding buttstock. Now, do keep in mind, something to help you out with, and for you first-timers, is that the extended buttstock does give up more stability during aiming, but it doesn't give you a lot of mobility. Meaning that an extended buttstock on any weapon improves accuracy, but at the cost of handling. The same, of course, can be said for the folded buttstock, but with opposite effects, where it does improve your handling, but it does cost you a bit of the accuracy front, especially in the stability department whenever you're aiming down the sights. Also something to keep in mind. A whole lot of people may think that, well, handling actually has a couple of characteristics. It's not always about recoil control, but it is also about how quickly you can pop in and out of the sights. But it primarily focuses on how quickly you can aim in and out of the sights. Recoil control and stability, that's much more in line with in the accuracy department. So something to bear in mind. But you can also, if you're not a big fan of the sights, you could always choose a different optical sight. Now sure, it does slow your aiming down a little bit, but it does help you out either in the range department and in the accuracy department. Now with some weapons, it does give you the options for different triggers, but with the MP5, that's not the case. You only have one trigger selection, which is either fully automatic or semi-automatic. Now with the magazine, you do start out with just a standard 20 rounds, but if you have, which does improve your handling. But if you're a bit of a traditionalist, like what I am, you can go with the much more extended 30-round magazine. Now, with the underbarrels, you have the options of grips, but you start out with the regular vertical foregrip, which does help you a little bit. Now I know it says in the in-game stats it reduces your accuracy, but but I think that they're rather deceptive. Personally, I think fork grips are much more of a help rather than they are a hindrance. And of course, you have all different kinds to choose from once you have unlocked them. You of course can choose the vertical fork grips, the SSAG or shift short angled grip, or you could choose the AFG, which is the angled grip. But for me personally, I've always favored the more classic regular grips. Of course, if you want to be fancy with the V3, V4, V2 grip, that's up to you. Now in terms of rail covers, you can choose the lasers, either the ATPIAL sight or the laser 3 dot sight. Which of course, but I will get into a little bit of the details of the attachments later on. But you can choose the different barrels, either the standard barrel or the long barrel if you have it. Now with the long barrel attachments, do keep in mind, it does reduce your handling, but you get a little bit more accuracy, a little bit more damage, and a little bit more range, which does help out if you want to take out longer distance targets. And of course, as for the muzzle, like most submachine guns, you can have the stock muzzle, the suppressor, but there will be a few that allows you to add in a compensator to help you reduce the recoil, which in turn boosts your accuracy by the cost of noise reduction. So anyways, with that there of course out of the way, allow me to present to you guys with a demonstration of how recoil works. Though I think it's probably best that we do so when there aren't any Unidad forces, or Santa Blanca forces nearby. So let me pause this here for a little bit, and when we get to a comfortable spot, we can do the testing. Okay, this here seems a little bit like a really good spot to test it. And but just to be on the safe side, we are gonna keep the suppressor on because well, we don't want to attract any unwanted attention. So as you can see, there is just a little bit of movement, but not a whole lot with the MP5 submachine gun. So now, out in terms of recoil, oil as you can see, either with or without the suppressor, it wants to bounce around a little bit. It's a little bit omnidirectional. Sometimes it'll go a little bit to the right, sometimes and it'll move on to the left. But sometimes it'll make a strong pull to the right or to the left. And so it can be a little bit of a hassle. But if we apply a compensator into our weapons, it actually helps balance out the recoil a little bit better, make it a little bit more controllable. So now, but if you want to try and take on those kinds of targets from a distance, you do have to keep in mind about the bullet drop, regardless of what weapon you're using. So what's the best way to control the recoil? Well, it's rather simple. If you want to go, it is probably best to do with some short round bursts, like 4, 5, or sometimes even 8 or 6 round bursts. 6 to 8 round bursts. But if you go into semi-automatic and go slow and easy, let the recoil rest, recoil will not become a bit of a factor for you. So something to bear in mind. Okay, so with that being said, why don't we go ahead and take a look see to what options I think would best benefit you in terms of attachments, and to what I believe would be most beneficial. So if you're not a big fan of the stock iron sights, as I said earlier, you could always add in a different sight to improve it. But me personally, I would choose either the panoramic or the Comp M4 sight. But so I would recommend a Comp M4 sight. And of course I would choose just a regular vertical foregrip, but again that's just me. A laser 3-dot sight to further boost your accuracy, and of course if you want to keep that recoil control, you can do a compensator, but you won't be able to attach a suppressor with it on. But of course for me, I always prefer having a suppressor on just to maintain that stealth aspect. So something of course to keep in mind. So now with that of course being said, why don't we go ahead and I think it's about time for me to start about the strengths and the weaknesses of the MP5 here in Ghost Recon Wildlands. First, the strengths, or as what some people call the pros about the MP5 here in Wildlands. So here are the three big pros that I see with the MP5 in Wildlands. First off, it has a generous rate of fire, which really does help you out in that department to help maintain a good amount of suppressive fire and can help keep those guys' heads down. Not as well as an assault rifle with a large magazine or a light machine gun. But it really does help you out. But of course, as I've said, and from the testing, if you're not careful, the recoil will catch you off guard. So something to keep in mind. The second strength of this MP5 in Wildlands and just so happens to become how quickly you can reload a submachine gun. And how quickly you can reload the MP5. And surprisingly, it takes only a little over a second, which is a really good thing to have, especially if you're in a tight situation. Especially in a tight situation, it's simple. Just either get out of the field or get into cover, reload your magazine, and you should be good to go to continue on the fight. And the third strength that I would like to go to is that it's generously effective at a close range. It's not a beast. Now it's not going to be a beast. It's in close quarters like other weapons, like shotguns or some other type of submachine gun. But it will help you get the job done. So that there, my friends, are the three main strengths about the MP5. Generous rate of fire, it has a fast enough of reload, and it's very well effective in close quarters. But now it's time about the three main weaknesses. Because it is an MP5, because it is a submachine gun, it's not going to be very well effective at a distance. And so don't even bother trying. Don't even bother trying to tackle guys at a distance or even from a medium range, because you are going to be outperformed and outdueled by assault rifles, light machine guns, or basically just any other weapon that will either trump you, that will either defeat you from a medium range and better, or that will take you down from a long range, like either a desert or marksman rifle or DMR, or from a high caliber sniper rifle. Another key weakness that's going to get you, if you're not careful, is the fact of recoil. It's the fact of recoil. If you're not careful, that recoil is going to catch you by surprise. So with that being said, those are the key weaknesses that you have to be careful of when using the MP5. Just keep in mind about the effectiveness of the range and maintain good, steady control of recoil. As long as you keep those two important things in mind, then the MP5 will become a very good friend for you. So with that, in conclusion, would I recommend the MP5? Would I recommend the MP5 submachine gun throughout most? Would I recommend either for a little portion of your career, a good portion of your career, or throughout most of your career? So, I would have to say that the MP5 is a good submachine gun for, I would have to say, a good portion of the career, because it is quite well effective, it's properly well balanced, it does have a good amount of balance, it is a good, balanced submachine gun overall. But with that then, my friends, it is time for me to wrap this up. I really do hope that this was good enough information for you. And the MP5 overall is a really good submachine gun to have, but I really would not rely on it too much in your career. But with that there, it's time to consider this episode a close. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this video. I really do hope that you learned something important from this, and I hope to see all of you guys again really soon. If you haven't yet, give this video a thumbs up. If you like this video, let me know in the comments below what you think of the submachine gun. Do you think it's great? Do you think it's terrible? Or do you think it's somewhere in the middle of the road? And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. It really does help me grow out. And I really do hope to make more videos with you guys in the future. Anyways, guys, take care of yourselves. Be safe. See you guys next time. Bye!